Hi everyone, I'm Vicky Murphy. I am the Director of Client Solution Engineering here at Valiantus. And in this video, I will be introducing Atlassian's latest product, Focus. So let's start out by talking about what is Focus. Focus is Atlassian's newest product in the enterprise strategy and planning space and is intended to further extend the ability to plan, manage, and track your organization's strategic priorities along with the rest of the Atlassian ecosystem. Focus will be released to Jira Align customers on February 25th, 2025, and at this time, Focus will be bundled with Jira Align licensing. So that means if you are an existing Jira Align customer, you will begin to have access to Focus on February 25th. And if you have not yet purchased Jira Align, any future purchases will automatically include the Focus functionality that we will take a look at today. I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about why Focus really has come to exist, Atlassian's positioning of it, and how it really fits into the Atlassian ecosystem. And then we will go ahead and jump into the tool for a live walkthrough. So starting off with that really big why behind Focus, really Atlassian has found, and we agree, this is what we see with our customers as well, that most organizations go through a pretty similar life cycle when it comes to their strategy. Starting out with really identifying what our strategic priorities are. Where do we need to really focus to focus our organization, and why does that matter to our business? Then we go into some sort of planning phase, right? So this is where we're starting to connect those strategic priorities to outcomes or goals. And we're really wanting to understand how we are going to be successful and how much funding is required to achieve that success. This is where we'll want to prioritize those strategic priorities and communicate the plan to the broader organization. For those priorities that get greenlit, then we go into execution, right? So this is where we're starting to break down the strategic priorities into really actionable things to do at various levels across the organization to move forward with. And then we end with evaluation, right? Now, of course, we want to be in a continuous feedback loop, but we're wanting to understand our successes, understand what challenges we face, how could we do this better, and start this whole loop over again. With this in mind, Atlassian has identified that a lot of organizations really struggle with connecting their strategic priorities identified in that early phase to really the work being done in their organization, to the goals of their teams, and to the people and investment allocations for those priorities that might be identified or carried out through these middle phases here, which really ultimately makes the evaluation phase really challenging. So that is where Focus comes in. Focus is intended to be a central hub for leaders where they can define strategic priorities for their organization, manage all of the goals for the organization, and attach work and eventually talent and funds to those strategic priorities. In Focus, as we'll see in a moment, we'll create what we call focus areas to really represent our strategic priorities. These will exist in the hierarchy that we can configure to represent the various breakdown from our top corporate strategies to smaller strategies throughout the organization. At the time of release, we're really going to focus on connecting work and goals through Jira and Jira Align to these strategic priorities in Focus. But we do expect Atlassian to make updates further into 2025 around connecting positions or teams and talent to and funds to these strategic priorities as well. So we'll see some placeholders for these objects when we get into the tool, but they will be further releases after the Focus functionality is first released. All right, so now that we have a high-level idea of what Focus is and what challenge it's intended to solve, let's talk about where it really fits into the broader Atlassian portfolio or broader Atlassian system of work. So bringing up that strategy lifecycle again, we can start to think of different Atlassian products or applications to really be best suited for the activities throughout these phases. So we start off again with identifying that strategy, right? And so this is where we're going to really leverage focus, as we'll see in a minute, to create that big top level strategy, start to break that down into smaller strategies, start to link goals, maybe even some work at this phase into those strategic priorities, and then start to really communicate that out to the organization, which we might use something like Confluence or maybe even Loom in conjunction with Confluence to really help with that communication. Then we step into planning, where we can start to use something like Jira Product Discovery. This can be used for ideation as well as prioritization of those big ideas for or to move our organization forward. And we can start to communicate that roadmap both internally to our organization stakeholders, but also potentially externally to customers or stakeholders outside of our organization as well. When we get into execution, this is where we see Jira and Jira Align come in. And so this is where we're breaking down those strategic priorities into those actionable work items, linking those up our hierarchy, understanding our capacity and demand and prioritization all throughout the organization with these tools. And then we get into evaluation, where we can come back to focus to understand how we have been performing, as well as use something like Atlassian Analytics to bring data from all across our Atlassian ecosystem together. I think it's helpful to not just talk about what tools we are using, but what roles do we plan or expect to use these tools. I do always like to say this isn't a hard and fast rule, but it's just something to start thinking about. How can we really leverage this Atlassian system of work across the various roles and the personas that we have and the activities that we need carried out? Again, at the top, when we're talking about strategy and evaluation, this is where we expect our top leaders and executives to really be living. They're going to be able to not just define those strategic priorities, but receive those updates that they are really looking for in one central hub. As we come down into that more portfolio and solution area with portfolio managers as an example role, this is where we're going to still leverage Jira Align. Product managers will likely use something like Jira Product Discovery and Jira. And then our delivery teams are going to keep using Jira as well. So Jira has been around for a long time and has always been an excellent team tool with its agile boards, dashboards, lots of newer functionality with Atlassian Intelligence helping with searching and timelines on boards, all of that really lending itself to those delivery teams, along with the whole marketplace of apps that really are intended to help delivery teams as well. And it's important to remember that while we have different roles identified for different tools here, all of these are intended to be pretty fluid and connect to each other. So Jira is going to work with Jira Product Discovery very heavily. And we can also roll Jira work up into Jira Align and even establish some connection between JPD and Jira Align as well. Both Jira and Jira Align can roll up their work or link work up into Focus as well. And so this is really intended to be one system of work where different functionality may be better suited for different roles here. Now that we have an understanding of who might be doing what work where, let's go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into the execution part of the life cycle, specifically talking about the combination of Focus, Jira Align, and Jira. Focus is going to be bundled with Jira Align. So I think especially for customers who might have been using Jira Align for a while, it's helpful to just talk about our ideas around working with these three tools in conjunction. So teams are going to still be in Jira like we just discussed on the last slide, and we talked about all the benefits that Jira brings. But in this equation, we're still going to lean into Jira Align to do what it does best, which is to help us connect team level execution up to more strategic execution across the organization, across lots of teams, multiple programs, maybe even multiple solutions and portfolios. So really still rolling that team level work up into things like features, portfolio epics and initiatives. And we may even still leverage the theme functionality here in Jira Align as well. As we start to want to connect that high-level execution to our high-level strategy and strategic priorities of the organization, that's where we're going to lean into Focus. Focus is really designed to help bridge the gap between strategic priorities and execution by building on top of Jira Align to really emphasize strategic alignment and planning at the executive level. Focus is also going to introduce more configurable views and hierarchies that can better adapt to an organization's way of working on top of Jira Align's more structured approach to execution. And so this is where we're going to see Focus really come into play. Now you'll notice I listed the tools here, but I didn't put hard boxes around any type of work or any type of role here because, again, it's going to be pretty fluid depending on what roles you have at your organization, what types of work you're doing. You may have team members who need access to multiple of these tools, just one tool. So think of it as really a system working together and identifying expectations around activities, types of work, types of roles that might be more suited for each of these individual applications in the broader system. At this point, when we talk about really implementing Focus, we do expect there to be a couple different paths depending on if you're an existing Jira Align customer or if you're a new Jira Align customer. For existing Jira Align customers, you may already be leveraging the enterprise level of Jira Align for this upper level strategy, goals, and OKRs. For you, the transition to Focus is likely going to be a bit of a longer timeline where you look at it more of a migration of activities. We do believe that Focus will provide you a higher powered, more executive facing view, but you should of course take time to evaluate what functionality you want to use, conduct any change management and training activities that you need, and move into Focus over time when it works best for your organization. For new Jira Align customers or customers who maybe haven't started to scale up into Jira Align into those enterprise levels, this is a great time to really look at Focus as part of your implementation plan and shift those activities over into Focus, as we do expect this will be where Atlassian, no pun intended, focuses their energy over the coming months and years. Right. Now let's go ahead and dig into the tool. Before I show the demo, I do want to just show one more slide, which is talking about the hierarchy I'm going to be demoing in my Focus instance here. So in Focus, you will be able to create a custom hierarchy for your strategic items. You can have up to 10 levels. We expect most customers to sit around the 3 to 4, maybe 5 level, but there is the flexibility to go up to 10 if you need it. My example is going to use these 3 levels. So company strategy that breaks down into annual priorities, that breaks down into operational priorities here. You'll notice that all of these have the ability to link to goals, teams, funds, and work. I added a gray box over the work at the top couple of levels because not all areas in Focus may actually link to work for you. Maybe there's some hierarchy that we just utilize Focus for, and then we start to connect work at lower levels. So now let's go ahead and jump over to Focus. All right, so here we are in Focus. Before I walk through it, I want to mention this will be available on Atlassian's cloud platform. So in the app switcher, when a user has access to Focus, it will be listed as a product in their app switcher list here. Users can be granted access to Focus through the Atlassian Cloud Administration Hub, where an org admin can grant one of 3 roles to a user. First, there is a user access role, so that will allow someone to grant the product admin and the user role. These are fairly open roles, so if you have the user role in Focus, you will be able to create, update, add, or not add. These are fairly open roles, so a user will be able to create, update, delete, and view any of the objects in Focus. A product admin will be able to do all of that, plus access the admin side of Focus, where they will be able to add focus area levels, which we will see in a little bit, as well as make connections to your other Atlassian products and do import and export. So with that, let's go ahead and walk through Focus. So when we first land here, we are going to land in the Focus Areas directory, which is going to give us the list of all the focus areas for our organization or instance here. Again, very open and transparent permissioning model at this time. We don't have focus area by focus area permissioning, so just be aware of that as you're granting user access here. Go ahead and jump into this middle section here, and then I will do a tour of the full page. But here we have the list of all of our focus areas. This is going to be in a hierarchical view. So here we're able to expand that hierarchy into the lower levels, as you can see here. We see lots of helpful information from status to the target due date, the owner, the items that we are following. Following is going to be like watching or subscribing in other Atlassian products. If you want to receive updates for edits to that focus area, updates that are posted, which we'll see how to do in just a moment, you can follow it here. The last update, and then any actions, which is starring, exporting, and deleting. Starring is just like bookmarking. It's not subscribing to updates, but just if you want to be able to quickly access. I'll show you the starred menu in just a moment. At the top, we can control the columns. So right now we're viewing all the columns available, but if you don't want to view all of them, you can toggle them off here. And we can also view this more as a diagram or a flowchart, if you will. What I love about this is if you're curious about your hierarchy, this actually shows it to you right here on the left-hand side. And it shows you how many objects are associated with each level of the hierarchy. All of these buttons you see are clickable, so we can expand to start to break down into the smaller levels here. At the top, there's a lot of quick filter options. So do you want to filter based on status, owner, type, goal, things you're following? You can do a quick keyword search here as well. There's not JQL or advanced searching. It's mostly keyword searching and focus at this time. We also have a couple of different tabs. So your focus areas that you own or you are the owner of, as well as the full hierarchy. So you'll notice here, while I own this tier 2 or annual priority, it's still showing me the parent of that as well as any children, even if I don't own them. There's further filtering available if you want to filter down the list even more. You can quickly see focus areas that you are following. So usually you follow something if you really want to see updates for it frequently. So this is a quick navigation way to get to things that we are interested in. And then we can create views. So if you want to create a view for specific segments of your focus areas, you can do so. This gives you a quick dashboard view of those associated focus areas. At this time, you do add the full hierarchy of focus area. So here I could add in the full hierarchy of all of these focus areas. All right, and we'll go back to the focus area page. And let's go ahead and jump into a focus area. Take a look at that, and then we'll do the rest of the navigation that you may see on the screen right now. But I'm going to jump into this focus area example. We first land on the summary page, which, as you would expect, shows you some quick high-level information. Starting off at the top, you see a summary of the work and a summary of the goals. This is really going to focus on key factors like work we haven't started and goals that might be off track. Positions and funds, again, these are placeholders right now, so this will be additional functionality that Atlassian will be adding in the future, but we can see where that will be at this moment. We can see the latest update and interact with it by following it, adding an emoji reaction, as well as adding in a comment. And then we see the activity log below. The right-hand panel is going to be visible across all the different tabs we're going to walk through for each focus area. So here's where we will see the owner, and we can update it accordingly. We can also view and add followers. So if you want somebody to be receiving updates, like your boss, for example, you could come in here and you could add in a follower, like I'll add my colleague Aslam. We can also see the type of focus area that this is, and we can update that here. We can see the parent focus area. So we have a one-to-many relationship, meaning that focus areas can have one parent, but they can have many children or sub-focus areas in this case. So you could change the parent here, or you could add in new focus areas. This will just show you focus areas that do not currently have a parent, which it doesn't look like I have any right now. I'll also mention you could create a focus area right here, and it just pops up this quick focus area create screen. Once you've created it, you can click into it and add the other details that you're about to see for my example. And we'll just cancel out of that. Let's go across these tabs. So on the About page, this is really just a description field. It's a full text editor. You can add in tons of detail here. You can mention people. You can also add in smart links. So if you have a Loom video or a Confluence page that you want to add here, you can. Again, thinking back to the slides, we're really going to leverage tools like Confluence and Loom for a lot of the communication around our focus area. So we can start to link those in. We also do have Atlassian Intelligence in Focus. So there is the writing assistant that you may be familiar with from other Atlassian products, where you can use this to improve your writing, fix your spelling and grammar, and more. So we'll save that. Next, we'll go to the Updates tab. So this is where we can provide those updates that we saw on the summary. Here, again, full text editor, absolutely can link in something like a Loom video, a Confluence page if needed, but we can also update the overall status, which these are system-controlled statuses at this time, but pretty all-encompassing of the overall status of something as large as a focus area. We can also update the expected or target due date as well. And you'll notice that this is a fuzzy date field, meaning you can be really specific and choose a specific date. You can choose just a month or a quarter. So if you think of something that might be lasting several years, it's going to be hard to pick a specific due date, but we can maybe pick the end of the next year, the end of this year. And then we can provide a text update. Again, we still have Atlassian's AI right here as well. Next, we're going to start breaking down this focus area and seeing the linked items as well. So we have 3 tabs that look quite similar, starting with the sub-focus area. So this is the children of the focus area I've selected. Lots of quick stats here at the top. These do serve as quick filters on this page. So if I click on it, it will filter the information below. I can click clear filters here to remove that. We can see remaining items that are in progress or to do, anything that's overdue, anything that's due soon, meaning in the next 30 days. And then we have a breakdown here, right? And this is interactive. You can roll over the different statuses to see the breakdown of which focus areas are in which status here. Focus areas to watch, so things that are off track, you can hover over it. It tells you for how long it has been off track. And then a deep dive into our child focus areas as well, with a lot of the filtering column and view capabilities as before. And again, we can click add here to add in an existing focus area. Let's jump to the goals tab. So the goals tab I want to call out in particular, while the permissioning in Focus is quite open, you do have to still grant users access to goals from your Atlassian home, or you may still have it as Atlas in your system. This can also be done from the org or user admin functionality. Granting users access to the goals product will grant them access to be able to leverage this page. If they don't have that access across any of the connected sites, they will not see this functionality. But this is really leveraging that goals functionality that would relate to the goals that you would see if you were in Jira, let's say. So if you have this enabled, users may see goals as part of their left-hand navigation panel in Jira as well. And we're talking one and the same here. With Focus, you will also have the ability to request Atlassian to enable, you may need to use Atlassian to enable the goal types functionality, which would allow you to use goals as OKRs here in Focus. So you would have the objective and the key result goal types, which would let you really leverage this in a very similar fashion to how you might be using Jira Align today. So again, if you're using OKRs in Jira Align, you should evaluate which system works best for you and think about how you might want to move that work over to Focus. Again, we have a top level dashboard here. At this time, these are not quick filters, but we can expect that they likely will be in the future. Similar breakdown, looking at status history of our goals. And then we see the goals breakdown here. Now, goals can have sub-goals, so we would see that hierarchy as you see here. Again, goals have a one-to-many relationship, so each goal can have one parent goal, but a parent can have multiple children, as you can see, and a focus area can be linked to multiple goals as well. Next, let's jump to the work tab. So work can be linked in from Jira or Jira Align at this time. Very similar view here, quick stats at the top. Work in progress, so this is looking at the status categories or status mappings of our work from Jira and Jira Align, and then work that's due in the next 90 days. Below here, our table looks a little bit different, so this is going to be grouping everything under the focus area itself, and then you will also see work that might be connected to sub-focus areas, so really giving you the ability to go quite far down into the execution here. Over here, we also add in that source field. So did you pull this from Jira or from Jira Align? If you want to add in new work items to this focus area, you just click add here. Here you can choose your source. So again, Jira, Jira Align, or Atlassian projects if you're using those. Depending on the option you choose, you will see the site information. And then you'll be able to search for a keyword, a issue key, or a summary, or you can paste a link for Jira. For Jira Align, you will just have a keyword search, and at this time, you will only be able to link the out-of-the-box epics from Jira Align. In the future, we expect Atlassian to broaden that into features, epics, themes, and capabilities if you're using them. All right, so those are all of our tabs. Up at the top here, we're going to have our status and our date field. So here we have the status option again, as well as the due date. We can choose to follow or unfollow this from here. And then we also have Atlassian Intelligence that provides us a quick summary. So very helpful for executives who might be very busy in their day or just want to see a quick summary without clicking into all of the different tabs. And then we can star, export, and delete this option, this focus area here. Let's jump over above the title here, which you can click in here to update the title of a focus area. We have a breadcrumb trail, so we can click back into the parent focus area, all the way back to the focus areas directory as well. And then on the left-hand side, the For You page is going to be anything that you have followed or anything that you are owning, some quick stats around that. So a very personalized view here. Recents, so things you recently clicked on that you can quickly click into or search for. Things that you have started. So again, think of this as bookmarking. The focus areas directory that we've already walked through, and then the goals page. Again, once you have permission to work with goals in your ecosystem, here you would see that full breakdown where we can understand what goals are in place across our organization here. A lot of quick tabs here as well. We can click into a goal. And it has a lot of similar information. We can do provide updates, see what Atlassian projects we're linked to. If we are linking goals to Jira issues as well, we will see that here. You can add learnings as well as risks and decisions made for these goals as well. All right, a couple other quick things. You can customize the sidebar for yourself here if you don't want to see all of these options. You can search. Again, this is going to be mostly a keyword search. The Create button allows you to create any of the focus areas as well as goals. We do have some in-app notifications here. This works with your Atlassian Cloud ecosystem. Not much under the Help button currently. And then we'll get into the administration side really quick. If you are a product admin, here you will be able to update the hierarchy. This means rename the hierarchy levels as well as create new ones and order them. You could also remove a hierarchy level if needed. You can choose your Atlassian product connections. So here you can connect to multiple Jira sites, which a product admin can do by clicking Connect Site. For Jira Align, you can connect to one Jira Align site at this time, and you will likely need Atlassian's help setting up that connection. And then lastly, you can import data. So if you are carrying out some of these activities in other tools, whether it's Jira Align or even another system, you could do some import here to start leveraging Focus. All right. Well, that is the overview of Focus and a quick walkthrough. Of course, if you have any questions or want to talk about training your teams on this, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Valiantus. We're really excited to see these updates to the enterprise strategy and planning system for Atlassian. And thank you very much for watching.